What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. And today we are going to be rebuilding Everton finally with a fantastic 4-2-3-1. If you do enjoy the rebuilds, be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, and please also do turn on notifications. And you know what, if you are feeling like you want to see a little bit more content from myself, you can come over to my Twitch, which is in the description, and trust me, it is really popping on there right now. A ton of you guys have already come over. We're doing fantasy drafts, we're doing an Ipswich Town save, and there's also going to be loads of stuff going on, so please do come over, say hello in the chat, and trust me, it's just a real good place to chill out. The main focus is going to be with Everton, obviously, and this is a club which I've been wanting to rebuild for a while, I'm going to be honest. And this week, actually, we are obviously going to be blessing you with 2 rebuilds. So I'll keep the other team a surprise, but a few of you might know who it is. But when you sort of take over Everton, there's a little bit of pressure, right? Because, you know, in terms of the actual club, they've got a very rich history. The finances are somewhat decent. You've got good training, good youth recruitment, and youth facilities. The media prediction isn't too stressful on you at all. You're only predicted to finish 16th, so I mean, you're not actually predicted a lot at all. Considering the team, I'd actually argue is somewhat decent in my personal opinion. I think it's actually an okay team. Some of the key players are going to be Coleman, Pickford, and Guy, and obviously Charlie Whittaker being a hot prospect. And I think genuinely we're going to give ourselves 5 seasons is the goal. 5 seasons, and I'm hoping we can pick up at least a Premier League title, and hopefully something in, you know, a European title, whether that be the Conference, the actual Europa League, or the Champions League, which might be a little bit of a big ask. But I'm hoping over 5 seasons we can genuinely cause some issues with this Everton team. And to be fair, the first season is going to be a little bit restrictive because we have only got £2 million, which, you know, we're not going to do that much with. I'm going to be honest, we're not looking to really sell anyone in the first season. We're going to stick with who we've got, see who performs, see who doesn't, because I have got players, obviously, who are out on loan, such as Dele Alli, and I will give him a chance. As much as, you know, you might call me deluded for giving him a chance because of his sort of past history, we are going to give him a chance and see exactly what he can do under my management. And at the end of the day, this team on paper, I'm not going to read out every position because, let's be honest, there's no real position here or no real player here, apart from a couple, which you look at and say, do you know what, they're 100% safe for the next 5 seasons. In my opinion, some players that will be staying here across 5 seasons, and I can guarantee you that, would be the likes of Mikalenko, the likes of Patterson. You might call me deluded, but again, a real personal favourite of mine on this game. Onana, Dominic Calvert-Lewin will be here. We'll also keep Dwight McNeil because he's actually got a ton of potential on this game. And do you know what? I genuinely think everyone else, it's life, you know, their backs are against the wall because they have to show me what they can do. Obviously, they're not in a good place in real life. And we are going to play a slightly different style compared to what Deitch is going to be playing. So we are going to go for a little bit more of an attacking approach to really see if we can get the best out of these players going forward. And it is going to be tough. The first few seasons might not be pretty, but that's the whole point of a rebuild, you know. We're going to try and go in and see exactly what we can do. And to do that, obviously, there are going to be no signings because I'm going to stick with the first team, see exactly what they can provide. This is going to be the team. So again, shout out to GRFM. We are going to be using one of his tactics. It is going to be the Ten Hag 4-2-3-1 or the 8-9-10 Hag in terms of the actual team or the tactic name. But the team we've got on paper is actually really good. We've got Pickford, Coleman, Tarkowski, Cody, Mikalenko, Guy, Takore, McNeil, Iwobi, Gray, and Calvert-Lewin. Now, that might sound like an average team, and on paper, I might have overhyped it a little bit, actually. But that is a team that definitely should be getting higher than 16th. I'm going to make a prediction, and please, if you're watching the video right now, do predict as well, without cheating, what position do you think we're going to finish in our first season? I'm going to go with 7th. I think we're going to get the conference. That's going to be my personal shout. But let's hop over to that first season and see how we done. Well, it's a 10 times better than what I thought because we've already done one of the things we wanted to do, and that was actually win an English Cup, which we've done now with obviously Everton against Norwich, which is a very weird final, but we'll take it nevertheless. We also have got top 4, which means Champions League football, which means more cash flow, more money that hopefully we get to spend, and hopefully an opportunity to actually use some of these players, develop them, and, you know, not to develop players, but develop the squad, possibly get rid of some of the players that aren't performing as well, and see what we can do. And luckily, we have been given £57 million to spend going into the next season, which in my opinion is a very generous amount of money we're talking here. Considering it's, you know, the second season in, I know we've got Champions League, but I was expecting roughly around 30 million, possibly 35, no more than that, but 57, very generous from the board to give us that money. In terms of actual player stats, I must say I've got a little bit of an issue with this. We've got 35 goals from Calvert-Lewin, which is fine. We've got 14 from Damari Gray. Dele Alli we can't count because he was obviously on loan for another club, that is. Then there is a significant drop-off in terms of actual goals scored, and there is something that is, I don't like it. I like to have a lot of players scoring at least sort of 10 plus goals. The assists, again, is a very similar pattern. We're going to have 7 coming in from Guy, Townsend coming in there with 7. Obviously, we've got some high numbers here. We've got 8 here from Patterson, a player which I do really believe in. Iwobi with 10, 14 coming in from McNeil, and then, you know, maybe the assists are okay, but in terms of actual stats, I genuinely feel like we can get more goals out of this team, and I'm going to do my best going into the next transfer window to focus on possibly adding to the midfield. But as we saw, you know, the whole team could do with some sort of any position could do with an improvement, really. The only position which I'm definitely not going to go for right away is probably the right back and also the striker, because I like Patterson. Left back's quite solid as well, actually, but we definitely could do with a little bit better depth in that position. And also that midfield, just trying to add one little gem to that midfield and seeing exactly what we can do. And that's what we've done. And I want to quickly add to this. I forgot to screenshot it, but on this page here, because unfortunately FM's very annoying, because you know, you can sign people in the same window, it puts them on different pages. I forgot to screenshot it, so I do apologise. But we actually also added Casido to this list. So I mean, that makes the list absolutely nuts of the players that we brought in. So we brought in Alex Scott, Lodi and Tete, obviously from Bristol, Atletico and Shakhtar. £15,500,000 and 60 million. We also helped the finances a little bit, obviously, with this deal here that was already gone through, by the way. Obviously Keane going to Juventus. We offloaded Whittaker for Fulham. I looked at him, he wasn't really all that in my opinion, despite what the game said. Jack Barrett to Salford. Townsend goes to Mainz for 3.1 million and Gabamin goes to Torino for 3.5 million. So the first player, Scott, then. Now this guy was just, to be honest, it was a little bit of a punt. I've not really used him too much, but his potential looks incredible. He's already got good attributes, very good agility. That's the real stat that sort of stands out. And I do feel like just the versatility of him as well. He can play on the flank, he can play anywhere in midfield, high up the pitch, or, you know, deep down. And I genuinely feel he can be a really good addition to this team. To partner him, we did actually bring in Lodi from Atletico Madrid, obviously from Nottingham Forest previously. And again, this was more just for depth in that position. Decent pace, good tackling, pretty much everything you need in a fullback. 25 years of age, so again, he's not a young pop prospect, but he is, you know, also not 35, you know. He has still got a few years to play in him and a very, very good defender. And then Tete, obviously a player which, again, wasn't on my sort of to-go list in this save. I do always think of players that I want to bring in. Unfortunately, we're still at the point where a lot of players are going to other teams over us, which I do understand. I do get that. But this is going to be a player which does work. He has worked for a lot of rebuilds I've done, especially last year, funny enough. He's very rapid on the ball, and his finishing isn't too bad for a winger. 13 finishing, good first touch. Again, only 23 years of age. You have got that factor in as well, that he can grow and his potential. Obviously, he can get to a 4-star as well, so that does definitely help. And hopefully we can sort of see a player here develop into a real dangerous winger. And unfortunately, I forgot to screenshot it because I don't know why I forgot to screenshot it, but Casido, also previously from Brighton, goes into that midfield, and now this team is looking very deadly. We've got Pickford, Patterson, Mina, Branthwaite, Mikolenko, Casido, Guy, McNeil, Ali, Iwobi, and Calvert-Lewin. And obviously some of the players that we brought in don't start for the likes of Alex Scott, Tete, and Lodi. But that's not a negative all the time, guys, because what this does mean is, for example, when McNeil gets injured, we've got a fantastic bit of depth there in Tete, and Tete might even get the odd game here and there, and maybe push Iwobi out of the team, because obviously McNeil can play on the left-hand side. Same with Mikolenko, we've got a fantastic backup left-back, and Alex Scott is always going to be that player that can sort of come on late in a game and just play in the smaller games, develop a little bit. He's only 19, so he does need time to develop, and hopefully we can get the best out of him. So let's get into the second season and see if these signings help out, because I think they will. We've pretty much strengthened an area of every position of the field, apart from the striker, which isn't really needed. Them signings clearly have helped out quite a lot, because we are actually Premier League winners, which I did not think was going to happen this early on into the 5 years. Also on the FA Cup and the Community Shield, making it a triple winning season with just 2 seasons played with this Everton team. I think that deserves a like on the video, so if you haven't already, be sure to smash it, because that definitely deserves a like. Semi-finalists of the Champions League as well, so we definitely didn't get humiliated in that either. And semi-finalists of the Carabao Cup, unfortunately fallen to Manchester City. Now, 86 goals scored, 30 conceded. That almost already has maybe happy purely from the signings, because that just shows we strengthened the defence a little bit. We obviously strengthened the midfield. We also strengthened one of the attackers by bringing in Tete, and that's clearly had an effect. And also Alex Scott, I've got to shout him out. But genuinely, just with them signings, you can see it's had an impact, because we've gone from sort of being, the third or something best of this. It's made us Premier League winners. It's helped us with the stats. And I'm sure if we go over to the squad stats, which we are going to do in a second, but before, I've got to show you this. We have been given £79 million. And you know what? This club is an honour to rebuild, because at the end of the day, when you're given budgets like this, you can't really make too many excuses about the lack of finances. I mean, 79 million, we're talking nearly £80 million we've got to spend going into what would be the third transfer window. And I genuinely feel like we can do a lot with this. And we've got to look now as well at the squad stats. And we've obviously filtered this by the average match rating so we can get a real understanding. Dwight McNeil's enjoying some really, really good football here at Burnley. I'm at Burnley. I'm at Everton. I don't know why I said Burnley. 11 goals, 31 assists. We're talking 22 goals, 17 assists from Tete. A fantastic season. Calvert-Lewin, 42 goals, 4 assists. 2 and 10 coming out of Patterson. Dele Alli, 21 goals, sorry, and 6 assists. So actually quite a good season from him. 4 and 4 coming out from Lodi. A lot being used as a sub there as well. And this is a lot better. We're seeing a few sort of standout players now. Again, as we go on and on, we are hopefully going to see more goal contributions from a lot more players. But this time, we are seeing a bit more of a rounded approach, especially in terms of the assists, and definitely this signing here. I mean, Tete, what a signing he has been. A fantastic first season. Dwight McNeil, obviously not a signing we brought in ourselves, but an absolute incredible season from him. Calvert-Lewin just does it consistently every single season. So, that guy, I don't even doubt there's no surprise. He's banging in 40 goals plus a season. Dele Alli, a very good sort of recovery season. Had his loan, come back. I told him that you've got to focus, you've got to do this, otherwise you're out the door. He's put up some decent stats, not perfect, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Give him another season and just see what he can do, because hopefully we're not forced into settling him, because I don't like to waste, especially English talent, but it is what it is. We'll see what happens, but let's get into the next transfer window and see what we can do. So, the third season of transfers then, we actually managed to bring in some really good players. You're not seeing double here, by the way. This is the previous page, but on this one, we have also added Nianzou from Sevilla for 17 million. Some players going out here, which you can have a little look at, if you will. We've got Damari Gray going to Monterrey for 16 million. We've also got a few other players which weren't really going to get in the team, so I did decide to offload them. We brought in Kakir, sort of as a... not necessarily to take over Pickford, because Pickford hasn't been playing bad, but it's more the fact that obviously Begovic is getting older and older. I want to replace Begovic with a younger keeper, so then if Pickford does underperform, then we can replace him instantly. And also, obviously, Pickford is going to get older as well, so that is why we turned to him. He brought in Reader from Young Boys for 13.5 million, and also Blanco on the free, which in my opinion is a great little bit of business. The first player, this is sort of the main signing, I'd definitely say. This was just to bolster that defence, make sure we've really got a solid centre-half. And this one, you are pretty much, we couldn't get the likes of Guardio. We couldn't get the likes of Scalvini. They all went to sort of, real bigger clubs. PSG being one of them, by the way, which is always annoying. But Nianzou is a fantastic defender, just not necessarily in that same category yet. But he can get there. To start with, though, he's not the quickest. That's the only downfall to this guy. But he's got good tackling. He's got good aggression, good determination, good heading. He's going to definitely get into this team, even if he doesn't start. He's going to cover the team in areas possibly where we get injuries, because there were quite a lot of injuries last season. And this guy's definitely a lot better than, forcing the likes of Onana to play there, who can do a good job there. But ideally, I don't want Onana being forced to play there. I don't really want him there. I want him in midfield, dominating it, because that's what he does best, in my opinion. But hopefully we see a good time out of him. Like I said, it is a little bit of a gamble, but it was sort of the best option on the market in terms of picking up a centre-back that is okay now and can grow. We couldn't get the likes of Guardio and Scalvini. Obviously, partner that with Kakir, a player who I bring in quite frequently on rebuilds, to be honest with you, and a player who has got my respect. He always performs well in FM, and you know what? He's not exactly the youngest keeper to bring in, but it is quite a good thing, because him and Pickford are similar ages. Now, I know I said I wanted the keeper to replace Pickford, and possibly I could have gone for a younger keeper, but I also wanted a keeper that was somewhat decent in case Pickford randomly starts underperforming, he gets injured. I don't want to risk having sort of a 2-star ability keeper, per se, and then conceding lots of goals that we usually wouldn't. And this was going to be the solution to that. And then obviously we have Reader, a midfield player who is criminally underrated when it comes to bringing in. He's always reasonably cheap. You can always pick him up for similar price tag to what we got him for, and he's valued at a lot more than what you pay for him. He's got very, very well-rounded attributes, as you can see here, in terms of especially the technique, the vision, the passing's incredible. He can play anywhere in midfield. You can see all the roles here. And by the way, this skin is fantastic for showing you guys that. You can literally see exactly everything about him. He can cover several positions, literally pretty much everything. The more defensive side of the game, he might drop a little bit, but overall, he can do a lot in midfield, let's put it that way. And then the last player is going to be Blanco, who again isn't going to be my first choice of midfielder, but he was on the free. He's very decent, and he can also grow a little bit in terms of potential. Previously playing for Real Madrid, so he's played at quite a big club, so it's always a good player to add to this team. Again, can play in several roles, very well-rounded stats. I'd say very similar to Reader in the sense that this one is a little bit more attacking in my opinion, and not a ridiculous wage either, on £62,000 a week, but considering we didn't pay a penny for him, I don't mind him being a little bit more expensive to, you know, sort of pay than other players. But at the age of 24 as well, I don't think we can really go wrong. This is going to be what the team looks like with them signings. Obviously, there is a little bit of a switcheroo, a little bit of a switch up. We're going to be seeing Kakir in goal, Patterson, Onana, Branthwaite, Mikolenko, Reader, Casillo, McNeil, Ali, Iwobi, and Calvert-Lewin. Now, one thing you would hear me said not so long ago, I don't like Onana at centre-back. I want him in the midfield. This is simply the manager's suggestion, or the assistant manager's suggestion, should I say. But I've got to ask myself, you got Reader, you got Casillo in that midfield. We might see a situation where Onana's needed at the back. Obviously, he's going to be better than the Anzu, purely based off the abilities off the stars, if you want to go by that. But I think what I'm going to do is, because I want it my way, obviously, I'm going to put Onana in midfield alongside of Casido, see how it goes. I'm also going to bring Nianzu into the centre-back position and sort of see where we can go, because I don't really want Onana playing there, but we'll see what happens. Maybe this is the formula. But let's get into the next season and see exactly what we can cook up with this new look Everton team. Well, I'm going to be honest, we've clearly done something wrong. I don't know if we brought in too many players. I don't know if, you know, we possibly brought in not the right players. Whatever's happened, it's not been a good season. Let's just put it that way. We finished in 5th place, which is, I'm going to be honest, it's disappointing because we were really on the up. Last season, we absolutely were dominating it, winning everything possibly in sight. This season has been a horror show. Obviously, the Champions League we performed worst in the Premier League, worse in the Cups. We did win the Community Shield, which is a very small success in, you know, a big pond of disappointment, if you want to say that. The stats have also dropped massively, obviously, because of the league position. 41 goals conceded, now with the 6th best, with the 2nd best at goals scored, so that's still actually quite good, considering we did finish 5th. Usually they are quite accurate. If you finish 5th in the league, you typically are only sort of one place different, if at all, in this sort of category here. But do you know what? I don't know if it was the signings, what it was. It just really did not click this season. So there's a lot of business to do now. There's a lot of thinking to do. There possibly could be players that I might want to look to get rid of now, which I didn't even think would be leaving. And when this happens in a rebuild midway through, you just, questions start going around in your head, you know, have I made the wrong signings? Have I done this wrong? Have I done that wrong? And, you know, we're going to look at some of the stats now, and it's not in a dreamland. Let's just say that. One thing I will say is we are finally getting the goal contributions I'm looking for. We're obviously going to have 33 goals from DCL, 15 for McNeil, 23 for Dele Alli, who's actually still having good seasons, and 10 coming in for, he's actually going to be the centre half. And also a few other, you know, a couple of 4s or 5 here, but it's just, the stats don't really mean anything to me this season, so I'm not going to pay too much attention to them, because at the end of the day, however many goals we're scoring, we're not winning games, are we? At the end of the day, we're not winning games, and it is really, really disappointing, because I thought we were going to be on an upward sort of, you know, stairway to heaven. I thought we were going to be up, because, you know, at the end of the day, we started off, we had an okay first season, a better second season, and it's just, I thought we were going to go up and up and up, but clearly there's still something here that we need to work on, and I honestly think a lot of it is down to the defence. I think we need to bring in another centre-back, possibly still need to strengthen the midfield. It's quite a bit, it's a lot that could be going wrong. But to do this, we have been given £74 million to spend, and this means that hopefully we can bring in some sort of players that I think are going to be at Everton for the future. So we're not going to turn necessarily to world-class players right away, because they might, to be honest, it's going to be quite difficult to attract some of the star players now, because we've had quite a poor season. We've not got Champions League football. We're finishing in the top 4 anyway. So it is going to be a bit of a tricky one, because we now might find ourselves in a situation where this season, where if it would have went well, we could have started to progress, sign some of these world-class players. But now we've had this rough spot, we might find ourselves actually struggling to pick up some of these sort of elite players. So we're going to have to see what we can do. But trust me, I feel like this is going to be a very active window. So I've had some time to think, and you know what? Dele Alli, I respect him. Do you know what? He's doing quite well since he's been back, but I'm looking at the transfer value. We've had countless offers from PSG, Bayern. He's actually been playing quite well. I'm looking at the age. Again, I'm looking at the value. He is a good player. But I think we're going to have to cash in on him. And we did cash in on him. We sold him to PSG. It is a little bit of a heartbreak because I wanted him to work, and he was working. But at the end of the day, what we've done with the team now, I feel like it's going to be better for the future. And I feel like that is the main focus of this rebuild, apart from winning the trophies, is to sort of rejuvenate this team. Bring in younger players that can also do the same as Dele Alli, but possibly a little bit more. And you know what? That's what we've done. As you can see here, we sold Dele Alli to PSG for £60 million. Now, in my opinion, that's a fantastic bit of business. I mean, it's £20 million more than he's worth, and he is 29. So to get that for, you know, nearly a 30-year-old midfielder who probably is going to be on his way out at some point is an absolute, well, it's great business. It really is. We also bring in Kamara from Inter Milan for £48.5 million. We bring in Moukoko from Dortmund for £50 million. We bring in Szoboszlai for £70 million. And we bring in Rafinha for £37.5 million. Now, a lot of this is done in instalments. Again, we're sort of taking a leaf out of Chelsea's book for this one. But them 4 signings are absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we've strengthened the back line, we've strengthened the midfield, we've strengthened the wingers, we've strengthened the striker position, obviously his backup. We really have strengthened so much of that team with one window, and it is a lot of money to spend. Obviously, we got given a fair bit, and also we added to that with 60 million. Everton are lucky enough, or we're lucky enough, to have 100% of the transfer revenue as well, so it really did help. This player here is an absolute baller of a centre-back. Again, we still couldn't land Gvardiol, we couldn't land Timber, so I thought, do you know what, we'll go with Kamara. He's got a ton of potential, cost a little bit, but you sort of pay for the quality. Again, only 25 years of age, very good tackling, good passing for a centre-back as well, which is always good to see. Reasonably quick, good balance as well, and this guy will have no issue getting into that team. The only downside, the wage is really painful to see, but luckily, to sort of counter that, we have obviously offloaded Dele Alli, which was on a fair whack at this club. Let me just put it that way. In terms of Moukoko then, so we're gonna have a little look here. Moukoko, again, he is going to be on a fair bit of wage because he had a lot of clubs going in for him, guys. I'm going to be honest. I wanted to get him because he performs well at this level. He can grow into an absolute demon. He can grow into the best striker in the game. And that's exactly why I wanted to pick him up. He's got fantastic finishing, great dribbling, good composure, good flair, good pace, good agility, good fitness. Pretty much everything goes for this guy in life, it seems. And that's exactly why I had to pick him up. And you know what? I think he is going to be a really good addition to this team. We then go over and pick up Szoboszlai, a player who I love to get. Look at the pros, look at the cons. I mean, loads of pros going for him. It's what we love to see. Not a bad wage to have him on either. A very good player who can play on the wide area of the field on the left or the centre, not so good on the right, but a player that can really do it all. And I'm a big fan of Leipzig, so I've always got a soft spot for the players. And that is a player who I wanted to bring in. And the last play is going to be Rafinha, mainly to strengthen both wings. Obviously, can play on the left and the right. Just a player who I feel like can, you know, really contribute to this team. He's rapid on the ball, good agility, good flair, good first touch, decent finishing, good dribbling, good technique. Do I need to go on? He is a little bit older. He is 28 years of age, but at the end of the day, we are now in a very crucial season, in my opinion, because we're now, you know, it was sort of going like this. We were going up, and we've hit a little bit of a wall. We've had a very poor season. So now, does it go back down or does it go back up? This window is massive for us, and hopefully these signings can sort of put us back on the path to success, because I was really disappointed by last season, I'm going to be honest. But this is going to be the team then. Filtered by the best 11, it is going to be, obviously got Kekir in goal, Patterson, Kamara, Braithwaite, Mykolenko, Casillo, Szoboszlai, Scott McNeil, Rafinha and Calvert-Lewin. Now, I might tweak this a little bit, to be honest with you, but even if we didn't, you've got to look at how much this team has improved. Look at the bench. Obviously, you've got Pickford, Onana, Reader, Moukoko, Lodi, Tete, Morpay, Mina, Blanco, Sims, Godfrey, Iwobi, Decore, Nianzou and Garner. And, you know, we've also got the likes of Tarkowski, who's a decent centre-half to have on the reserves. We have strengthened this team a ridiculous amount, I must say. Obviously, we've been given the finances to do it, so it's you've got to have the money to do it, but I feel like also, you know, we've got to give ourselves some credit because we have built an absolute ridiculous team right now. And the big question is, you know, is Calvert-Lewin going to stay, you know, next season? Are we going to look to make a big move? That I don't know. We might not. That's going to be a little bit of a surprise. But if you are enjoying the video so far, be sure to leave a like on it, and please do subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. It's completely free and helps the channel grow. But let's get into what is going to be the 4th season and see exactly what we can do. So, it's okay. It's okay. I did feel like we could have done a little bit better in the Champions League considering the team we've got, but we are back on top. We've won the Premier League. We've also won the Carabao Cup. The stats are okay. Again, it's a defence which does look somewhat weak. 104 goals scored, 40 conceded, but the main thing is we're back on top in the English division. That's exactly what we want to be seeing. And in terms of the squad stats, again, we haven't really, I guess we kind of have got what I wanted in the sense of a lot of goal contributions. We've got 39 from DCL. We've got 25 here from Szoboszlai. What a season that is. Exactly why I brought him in. Rafinha, a fantastic season. 21 goals, 34 assists. We've got 9 goals from Alex Scott, 8 assists. Not bad in 21 games. Patterson also still playing very well. This guy's had quite a good season. 9 and 6 here from Branthwaite again. 11 and 9 coming in from Dwight McNeil. Iwobi with 11 and 5. Quite good considering he's now going to be more of a substitute player. 4 and 7 coming in from Caicedo. I don't really expect much from him, not in a bad way, but I don't expect him to get tons of goals or assists because obviously I know I play him in more of a defensive role. We've got 4 and 7 coming out from Reader. And yeah, it's actually quite a good season. I'm going to be honest. In terms of the stats, this is what I want to see. So we've got a 39, a 25, a 21, 11, 11, and then we're actually seeing some 9s and 9s, you know, and a 7. So that's what I mean. Anything towards 10 and upwards, I want to see sort of 5 or more players sort of achieving that, because then you know you're not purely relying on one player. But Szoboszlai and Rafinha, some of the real standout players this season, and they're newbies to the team, but I knew they would instantly click. In my opinion, that was probably one of the best windows we've actually ever done. An incredible window, and I feel like we've ticked off a lot of the issues we were having. Just crossed them off. So going into the last season, we have been given £90 million, and do you know what? This is going to be a big season for us because, you know, this is the last season we've got the opportunity to win the Champions League. So again, it's a lot of pressure to sign a couple, if not 3 players that are going to be the sort of final pieces to this puzzle, and hopefully we can go on and win the Champions League. I think we can possibly do it with a few more additions to the team. But I want to quickly point out something which I found very fascinating about this. Ansu Fati is actually going to Newcastle on the free. They completed this, because obviously I'm recording in the future. Ansu Fati somehow was a free agent and Newcastle poached him. That just proves I need to look at these more often, the free agents, because that is an incredible bit of business. A 23-year-old elite winger, we know everything about Fati, a fantastic bit of potential. And Newcastle have had the cheek to pull him on the free. What a bit of business from them. And obviously you can see, if you are looking down through the emails, bit of privacy breach that is, you can obviously see who was signed here, but we are now going to cover that anyway. So we have signed Jurrien Timber from Ajax for £70 million and Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen for £85 million. A few more players being offloaded there, the only addition actually being Apter. But do you know what? I feel like these two could be the final pieces of the puzzle. Genuinely do believe that, because the reason why we've turned to Timber is because, one, he can obviously cover the... He's just a very versatile player. I always say it about Timber. He can play on the right, he can play centre-back, he can play in the midfield. And I feel like if there's any injuries, this guy can step into obviously any of them positions. And if you look at his attributes, I mean, this is pretty much all, you know, you've got tons of 15s, you've got a 16, a 16, a 17, sorry, a 16, a 16, a 16, a 16. I mean, there's a lot of green. There's also a lot of high yellows. It's all in your face. You know, this guy can do a lot of stuff. Let's just put it that way. He's only 25 years of age. He's an elite centre-back and a player who I think we all love on FM. He's such a good signing. He really is. And then we go with Wirtz. And the reason why we've got Wirtz is because obviously Szoboszlai was signed to actually play in that sort of advanced playmaker role, but the manager prefers him, or the assistant prefers him, in sort of a Roman playmaker. So what we've done is, Alex Scott quite hasn't developed to the standard I think he could have done. And, you know, possibly if we were to play this save ourselves, I would have got him involved a little more. But we're going to turn to Wirtz because he has also got potential, but he is sort of pre-made. He's got fantastic dribbling, great first touch, good bit of flair. He's kind of quick, to be fair to him. 16 agility, good vision, good work rate, good passing, good technique. Pretty much what I've said there is what you want for an advanced playmaker. And I feel like he is going to make the difference And this is going to be the final look of the team, obviously, the final team of this save. Because whatever happens now, that is going to be the video. 5 seasons is the sort of milestone. So we're going to have Kakir, Patterson, Timber, Kamara, Mikolenko, Casillero, Szoboszlai, McNeil, Wirtz, Rafinha, Calvert-Lewin. So do you know what? I feel like that is a very, very good start on 11. Obviously, some Everton players have survived as well, which is good to see. We are going to do more of a squad sort of look and, you know, what we've done over the seasons after this season. But let's go in and see if the last season can be a magical one. Well, it is a magical season, guys. We have won pretty much everything in terms of the overall challenge of the video. Not literally everything down here, but what we have done is we have won an English trophy, we've won the Premier League, we've also won a European trophy, that European trophy being the Champions League against Chelsea, so the best European trophy you can possibly get. We've got some very impressive stats, 97 goals, 26 conceded, quite a close Premier League tie, I'm going to be honest, or title, I must be honest. 4 points. Manchester City obviously find themselves in second place. Newcastle, we've got to have a little look here. How did Ansu Fati get on? So I have got to know. I have got to know this. So tactics, senior squad. Gavi as well. Gavi, Thiel, what a team this is. It's always interesting to see who they pick up. Scalvini on the bench as well. They need to be doing better. Where is Ansu Fati? Injured. Okay. Injured, we can see here. Obviously, he did come on the free. And not a very good season from him at all. Not a very good season at all. A little bit disappointing. This team, by the way, is absolutely nuts. They need to be doing a lot better than what they've been doing. But that aside, that isn't the main focus. I just want to have a little look. But in terms of the squad then, this season, we're going to have 35 goals from Calvert-Lewin, Szoboszlai with 30, 21 for Rafinha, Wirtz for 19, 10 for Moukoko, McNeil with 10, 9 for Onana. This is beautiful. You know, this is what I want to be seeing. A lot of players getting involved. Assists again, quite a few assists in terms of actually a decent number. And do you know what? Some really good match ratings as well. And this is now a team which I can say I'm officially happy with. There's tons, there's a nice mixture now. We've got experience, we've got young prospects, we've got people that create lots, we've got people that score lots. We've got everything in this team. A great back line, a great midfield, a great forward line, pretty much everything that you'd like to see. And do you know what? I'm happy with how this has gone. We've had a ton of success, and we're going to have a quick look into the data hub then. So we're talking don't want that on the screen. We're talking 2.55 goals per game and 0.68. So again, it's going to be a shout out to the tactic as well, which we are going to break down right now. Over 2.5 goals a game and only conceding 0.7. So a very, very successful season there. And if we were going to carry on, we would have actually been given £106 million to spend. That shows Everton, they've got a little bit of money. They have got a little bit of money to play with. So do you know what? Very, very nice of them. So it's been an enjoyment to do. I'm going to be honest, but this is the main part you come for, and this is going to be what we're going to break down. It is going to be the tactic, but to look at it, this is going to be obviously the finalised team. The starting 11, according to the assistant manager, should be obviously Kakir, Patterson, Timber, Kamara, Mikolenko, Casillero, Szoboszlai, McNeil, Wirtz, Rafinha, and Calvert-Lewin. On the bench, we've got Pickford, Nianzou, Reader, Moukoko, Branthwaite, Blanco, Sims, Onana, Tete, Decore, Lodi, Scott, Garner, Godfrey, Iwobi. Reserves, we've got the main ones being Tarkowski and Holgate. Now, that, in my opinion, is a very successful rebuild. Let me know in the comments if you think it has been a successful rebuild. But let's break down this tactic. So just so there's not so much on the screen, we are going to clear this right now, and we are going to get involved, and hopefully you guys will like this tactic as well. When we do break down the tactic though, guys, if you are enjoying yourself, please do leave a like on the video, and do also come over and watch me on Twitch. Trust me, it's a ton of fun. We've been live streaming a lot lately. We're currently doing a lot of the Ipswich Town save we've got going on over there. We're also doing viewer fantasy drafts, and a perfect way to partner this is to also join the Discord, which again is completely free. It's a ton of fun. I know a lot of you guys have come over, and it's always nice to see you guys from the comments being active in the Discord. I get to know you a little bit better. Good conversations, whether that be about FM or also just general real life topics, football, whatever it want to be, you know, just a nice chit chat. But let's get on and carry on breaking down this tactic. So again, a big shout out to GYFM for making this absolute masterpiece. It's a ton of fun to play with, and you know what? It served Everton very, very well. It's going to be a positive mentality in possession. You want fairly wide pass into space, shorter and a higher tempo, work ball into the box, mix crosses and run at defence. In transition, you want counter press, counter, distribute to the centre backs and the full backs, and take short goal kicks. Out of position, you want a higher defensive line, high press line of engagement much more often, prevent short goalkeeper distribution and get stuck in. The player roles now, you want a sweeper keeper on attack. If you are noticing a few mistakes from this keeper, you could switch him to support in my opinion. Tackle harder, dribble more and take more risks. The wing back on attack, shoot less often, tackle harder, run wide with the ball, cross from the byline and get further forwards. On the left hand side is a fullback this time on attack, shoot less often, tackle harder, cross more often, get further forwards. Two ball playing defenders this time, both on defend, stay wider, tackle harder, take more risks and hold position, and exactly the same for the right hand sided one. In the midfield, we've got a ball-winning midfielder on support, on mark tighter and tackle harder. And next to him, a Roman playmaker on support, shoot less often, tackle harder, mark tighter, take more risks and roam from position. The left-hand side, we've got an inside forward on attack, dribble more, cut inside with the ball, take more risks, cross less often and get further forwards. On the right-hand side, the exact same role, but on support, tackle harder, dribble more, cut inside with the ball, take more risks, cross less often, and get further forwards. We then have an advanced playmaker on attack in the centre of the park, tackle harder, shoot less often, dribble more and take more risks. And the last one is actually going to be a target forward on attack. Obviously, this is replicated around Ten Hag, so this would be the Weghorst sort of figure. You could use an advanced forward, in my opinion. That would work completely fine. On attack, shoot less often, hold up ball and dribble less. Now, the one thing I would possibly say, if you did pick up as many bookings as what I picked up, you could look to take tackle harder off some of the players. That might help discipline the team a little bit. But sometimes it is quite good to play this way because you do get aggressive, you get in their face, and you put in some challenges which are going to be clean ones, which you might not usually put in if you didn't have it on. So it swings and roundabouts, but I possibly would take it off some of the players, maybe one of the midfielders, so you don't get as many sort of bookings coming in, but that's completely up to you guys. But that is going to be Everton rebuilt. If you have enjoyed it, show some love on the video, comment below on what rebuild you want to see next. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. Do come over to the Twitch. I will see you in the next video.